All right, folks, I know we got a full boat here. I do walk back and forth across the middle here an awful lot. And I'll warn you, I am clumsy. I always had to send my father's sympathy cards when I played sports.
There we go. See him? Our friend. Oh, yeah, we got out.
Yeah, we got an Higa sitting over here. That's the first bird over here. I see everybody looking at it right there. See? On the flapping wings there, drying off. One of the very few non-waterproof birds. I'll tell you more about those when we go down the river, because I think we'll see a few more. They've been out in great force today. Just came off a little fishing trip. All right, I do want to welcome everybody aboard the Aquabelle. My name is Keith, and I'm going to be your first mate on this journey. At the helm, we have the incredible Captain Chet. How about a round of applause so we can see him smile? Yeah, that's it. That's as good as it gets. Yeah, that's it is. I live for these moments to make him smile. So we're going to be your guides as we go down the river here today. But there's three things that legal makes me go over on every boat, so bear with me. One, if everybody can remain seated on our journey, we'd appreciate it, unless Captain says otherwise. Two, anything you wish to bring back with you to the docks, like cell phones, cameras, children, wives, and husbands, please keep inside the railings at all times. And we are United States Coast Guard inspected vessels, so it's our duty to inform you where your life jackets are, and you should know where your life jackets are on any boat. Our dope life jacket located is two white bins here in front. They're also located on the ground to the left of the helm. Our chosen life jackets are also located in the rear of the boat, put in two black bags on the ceiling. If something were to happen, you would take your life jacket, place it over your head. The strap would go around your back. You would buckle in front, pull it tight, and then you remain calm as we all walk safely back to shore. The water here is only about 3 to 5 feet on this side, so I do think we'll be okay. However, at the Mermaid Show, that water goes to a depth of over 400 feet deep. We're going to go by another Inhinga. A couple of turtles lower down, but we'll slow down here on the way back. The turtles will probably be there. I see 4 turtles hanging around there. 5, 6 turtles actually now. But we'll slow down on the way up and give you a better look at those. It's hard for us to slow down going down the river. So all the water you see here comes out of the spring up there. That's where the mermaids perform. And when you're at the Mermaid Show, if you were looking into the water, you're looking directly into what they call a first magnitude spring. It's everything there is natural inside of that spring. A first magnitude spring is the highest flowing category of spring there is. The category starts at 64 million gallons a day, but this spring puts out between 122 to 150 million gallons of water every day. That's enough water to give every resident in the entire state of Florida 7 glasses of water each day. And the water here is tested on a regular basis, at least monthly. It's found to be 99.8% pure. The 0.2% is just trace minerals, so you can drink this water. However, we don't recommend it if there's a busy day up there at Buccaneer Bay. If you didn't laugh, you don't know what Buccaneer Bay is. You'll find it on the way out. And I encourage you to check it out. It's a great thing to do up that way. I think we have a little chickadee sitting on a little perch over here in the log. And there's going to be a little blue heron after it on the right-hand side. That'll be 3 different bird species here. It's a little blue heron over that way. They call that a little blue heron because it's little and blue and a heron. But it's pretty neat because their offspring are actually born all white. So if you ever see an all-white bird with bluish legs and a bluish beak, you're not looking at a great white egret. You're looking at a juvenile little blue heron. Some fish to pay attention because they're going right underneath the boat right now. Some fish to look for in the water. One's going to have black vertical stripes on it. Be between 4 inches and about 1 foot long. They're called sheep's head. A sheep's head's a neat fish because if you caught a sheep's head, looked at it and smiled, they would smile back to what looks like a human set of teeth. Look it up. Sheep's head teeth, pretty disturbing. But don't worry, they don't bite people. There's enough things in Florida that will bite you. They're not one of them. They eat a lot of things, including mollusks, crustaceans, and shellfish. And they use those teeth for that. Now, did anybody here see a fish jump out of the water yet? Yep. Those are called mullet. That's what you're seeing. That's the number one fish you're going to see here, a mullet. Notice they come in different colors. Sometimes you'll see groups of all the same, but you'll see different color variations go down. Mullet, they do like to jump out of the water. They'll jump between 1 and 4 times, sometimes in a row. They'll jump a distance. I've seen them jump up to 12, 14 feet long per jump. They also possess a gizzard, pretty strange for a fish, like a chicken or a turkey. Same structure to digest seeds. And they're a Eurohaline species, which is a fancy way to say they can go back and forth between fresh and salt water. And if you see a darker colored mullet, they spend most of their time in salt water. And if you see a lighter colored mullet, they spend most of their time in fresh water. And they do say the freshwater mullet are for bait, and the saltwater ones are for eating, probably because they've already been seasoned. And all year long, we have a limpkin on the right-hand side here. That's fourth bird there. That's a limpkin, right-hand side, brown bird, white spots. Actually named for the way he walks. Got a little bit of a limp every now and then, and that's where I actually get his name from. On our left, we got a cool tree popping out of the water. It's called the bald cypress. It's in the bald phase of it right now. It's one of the few pine trees that loses their needles. Now, these trees here were really heavily over-harvested for the rot-resistant nature of the wood. And so they realized how slow these trees grow, because this tree there is about 100 years old, and you can see how few board feet of lumber you get out of it. It's pretty cool if you look at it. I've never seen that tree not surrounded by water. And there's going to be another one right after it, 11 o'clock starting again. You see that big trunk tree out that way. Check out the structures coming out from the bottom. They're actually part of the tree. They look like they're stalagmites, but they're called cypress knees, and they're part of that 400-year-old bald cypress tree. And we do have some bald cypress trees here that are over 600 years old. Some of these trees have been here since about the 1400s. Now, about 1 o'clock off the bow of the boat, excuse me, sit here for a minute, point this way. Back there is a big, tall stand of trees. Right in the middle, you can see a very hairy one. Looks like it's covered in shag carpeting. If you know what shag carpeting, you're at least as old as I am. You go backwards, 1, 2, 3 trees. At the base of the canopy up there, there's a bald eagle's nest. And if you look, there's a good chance you're going to see activity in the nest, because they've been having a watch for the last couple of weeks on there. And I believe there's an eaglet in there. We haven't seen it pop up yet, but you should be able to see, if you look up there, you might even see an eagle in the area or popping out of the nest. Everybody saw it but the back right people up there, and I'm going to come here, because you're going to see in about 7 seconds. I'll point it out to you. Do you see it over here? Did you see the nest? Yes. Okay, did. But you haven't seen it yet. You're going to see it right about now. See it over there? That far back tree? There's your bald eagle's nest. Now, unlike my father, who thought monogamy was a type of wood, these birds stay together for life. They raise the young together, they build the nest together, they defend the nest together, and they've been coming here for about 16 years. The adults are named George and Martha, and you might see them pop in and out. There's going to be a lot of things happening here, because that's one of our, see it right up that way? Up in the back there. Do you guys see it? Okay. There'll be another good viewing as we make the turn over here, because that's one of the biggest creatures there. I'm going to introduce you to another, it's actually one of my favorite smaller creatures here on the right-hand side. There's 2 little guys here. They look like ducks, but they're not ducks. They're called pied-billed grebes. They're really neat. They are fully grown. Females to the right, males to the left. Pied-billed grebe is a fancy way to say band around their little beak, because they got this little cute, adorable little beak on them. Their feet are located really close to their butts, so they don't walk on land very well, but they do amazingly well in water. They do everything in water, including nest. But since their feet are so back, it enables them to dip under the water very, very fast, so fast that they earn the nickname Water Witch. And you'd be looking at them, and all of a sudden you could blink and they'd be gone. And they'd pop up again whenever they wanted to. Yeah, I like them so much, I actually adopted them as pets. And with wild animals as pets, I leave them right where they are. I don't feed them, and I watch them from a distance, and that's the best way they can have a good life. Now, hanging on the left-hand side, does anybody know the name of the river we're on? Weeki, no, that's good. Sometimes nobody knows. I say Mississippi and watch blank looks. That's right. I'm always looking for that opportunity when nobody knows. But you are correct, sir. It is the Weeki Wachee River. Weeki Wachee is a Seminole Indian phrase, and it really means winding water, winding river along those lines. Once again, it starts right where the mermaids perform and winds its way 12 miles all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Incidentally, that's how many characters Weeki Wachee is with the space, so it's kind of weird how it works out that way. Manatees, we have not been seeing them a lot. They've been passing us. Sometimes they've been up at the top. They've been seeing them down there, but they've been kind of avoiding our little through stretch here a little bit lately, it seems like. So it's hard to know when they're going to come here. Sometimes I tell people if you go farther down the river, there's a little place called the Upper Deck. There's a little spot to look out. Sometimes you'll see them through there. We're the longest river in the Nature Coast. We're at 12 miles, where all the other rivers are 5 to 6. So it's a long journey to come from the Gulf up here sometimes. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. And we're getting a little shallow down there. We're in need of a little bit of a dredge, so it creates a little bottleneck. What's happening there? Now there's a plant I'm going to point out here on the left-hand side. We pass it on the right hand. See this grass sticking up out of there? It's called sawgrass. Anybody from the south who's ever walked through sawgrass knows why it's called sawgrass. I love the nods. Come out, good Cap. I like to point it out there. You see what's left of the flower bloom. Now that flower bloom stopped at the end of November, and it's pretty neat that this plant starts to bloom just about June 1st of every year, and it finishes blooming just about the end of November, which incidentally is hurricane season. See, spread out, folks. Then we're going to come right through there on the blue. You're good. So it coordinates with hurricane season. It's a pretty neat plant. So you got your dingle over there on the left-hand side. And incidentally, again, it's called sawgrass, but it's actually not a grass at all. It's actually a sedge because it has 3 leaves when it comes out. So it's really not sawgrass; it's really sausage. Correct. We got a hole in a group cup, yeah. Yeah, but that sawgrass is pretty. And again, the edges are serrated, so it actually cuts you if you walk through that grass the wrong way. I don't think the paddleboards see us at all. So these are wild kayakers, ladies and gentlemen. Some of them are natives, some of them are migratory. Are you migratory? You can tell by the plumage, they're wearing shorts. We don't do that here in this weather. No, you're good. You're good. And the similar species, the wild paddleboarders. Just don't feed them because they will follow us all the way back to the docks. Oh, and here we go. We're going to come up on the right-hand side. You're going to be cheered on. Well, you see all those people up there. That's one of our school districts. I wonder if they're going to be there. They love to wave to us. Oh, they're going away. That's the Springs Coast Environmental Educational Center. That's a place we bring our Hernando school children. We teach them all about the river. It's a great thing. They come in 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. They learn all about the river. Usually ends up in a big kayaking trip. If there's any power in here, just call your local representatives. Tell them to keep their kayaking trip. I love when they keep doing that. It's a great thing that they do. We love seeing them on the water. Creates a great love for it. But this little inlet here part is called Parker's Landing. And as we get a little closer to it, you're going to see a billboard on the left-hand side, and that's going to show you actual wingspans of birds of prey. And you'll be about 120 feet away. Just get an idea how large they are. So I love that they have it there. I know you guys noticed that on the way down here, but if you look beyond the people there, you'll see the board. Who do we have today?
We have JD Floyd, 4th graders.
All right, 4th graders. Hello, everybody. Look at you all lined up. Yeah, looks like that's amazing. Looks good. Looks good. So there's that side back there. It shows you actual wingspans of birds of prey. You know what? I'll put the bald eagle to another perspective for you. Your average living room or bedroom ceiling is about 8 feet high. If this bird was sideways, the eagle was sideways in that room, her wingtips would touch floor and ceiling at the same time. It's pretty amazing how big they really are. And Florida is number 2 for bald eagle sightings in all of North America. Alaska's number 1, but it's not our state bird. Does anybody know the state bird of Florida? It's a snowbird. Number 2 answer is the mosquito. But you see where I'm going, because the correct answer is the mockingbird, or the northern mockingbird. So you can see how I did a little. Hope I redeemed myself. Excuse me. So over here, this is called Weeki Freshwater Adventures, and this is a place, it's an outside vendor. You go online to weekiwachee.com, make a reservation, you launch your rented stuff, or you can do your own launch with your own equipment. You set it up. Here, you go about 3 miles down the river. They pick you up, kayak up here, and bring you back up to the top. It's a great thing to do. If you ever come back, try to do it. You'll love it. Everybody loves it. The river does most of the work. But I always remind people to stay in your vessel because it's really low impact on the river. And if you know a little bit about kayaking, you'll have yourself a much better trip. So I have seen people go down backwards, paddle upside down, and inverted. Don't even know how it happens. School of Mull Trail is on the left-hand side over there. There's no fishing up inside of the state park here. You know, you try to discourage people fishing like downriver outside of our state park area. We control about 3.5 miles under our protection to try to keep it as pristine as possible. Farther down they do it, but there's so much better places to fish. There really is farther down that. This is great. It's like an estuary up here, so we get a lot of breeding and spawning and little fish. And there's those sheep's head there on the right-hand side. It's a striped fish on the right-hand side of the boat, zipping by, very hard to see. Just kind of turned it on there at the last second when I pointed it out. Different colored mullet here. You can see the difference, the fresh and salt water on the left going by. And we're looking at what they call limestone sand here at the bottom. It's highly reflective. So you can actually see the clarity of the water and the bluish reflection from the sky kind of bouncing off the bottom. I do see a couple of turtles are still here. I'm going to sit here right in front of you folks. I'm pointing something out on that side. And it's usually okay with Skipper. Are we good, Skip? All right. If anybody does want to stand up at this time and look, I see a turtle over there hiding very well. So anybody want to stand up, you go to the middle of the boat, come to the front of the boat. As far as you tuck back this way, you're more than welcome to look around. There's coming up here, there's the Inhinga on the end of that 45-degree log coming out in the water. If you follow the log down to the bottom towards the water, right near the water, you'll see a few turtles backed up there. I see a turtle scattered around. I'll pop up. I'll see how many turtles I can count. See if you can beat the first mate in counting turtles. I see 1. I see 2. I see 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right there.
Oh, I see 6.
There's another one over there.
I see 6. Yeah, I'm at 6. And now you can get a good look at the Inhinga. The Inhinga does like to model sometimes. It likes to show off. If you're able to look at the beak, look how sharp the beak is. It's pretty cool.
He is showing off.
You know, he's got those little gray hairs on his head right now. I say he because black head and black neck make it a male. If it was a female, it would have tan head and neck. And that's how you know the difference. He's blocking his feet right now, but he's got a very aggressive type of webbed foot on them. They can swim amazingly well underwater. They just glide through the water. That big tail opens up. Thank you for the tail. That's part of the smoke screen, you know, on there. Q. So when they're in the water, they actually look like a turkey going, so they're nicknamed water turkey or swamp turkey. See, it looks right at you. When it looks right at you, the beak is so sharp you almost don't see it. Because it spears its fish. It'll go into the water, find a fish, and the head will whip out, almost like a lightning strike, stab the fish right through the middle of it. It'll come out with the fish stuck right on its beak, where it'll get the fish, it'll toss it up into the ear, it'll make it go so it falls head first into their mouth, where they'll swallow it head first, whole, like a good piece of sushi. And the turtles you saw there, most of them were yellow belly sliders. I think at the end there was a dark orange is a red belly slider. And we do have soft shell turtles. And then we have one of my favorite turtles to avoid. It's called the alligator snapping turtle, which you can get to 200 pounds pretty easily. Record for an alligator snapping turtle is about 400 pounds. What was that? Oh no, big fish. Because snapping turtles, especially the alligator snapping turtles, they'll bury themselves in the edge. That's why it's very hard to see them usually. They'll open their mouth up. Their tongue is bright red. It looks like a worm. So they're actually fishing. And then as soon as the fish comes to bite the worm, snap goes the snapping turtle, and that's how they catch the fish. Another Inhinga up there on the left-hand tree, standing out there. It's neat because when you see the white feather pattern, how the white feathers interlace on the back, It almost looks like it's a skeleton. They're wearing like one of those leather biker jackets with the bones on there. Because a Nihinga is an old Indian word, and it means bird of spirits or bird of evil spirits. And I have to believe it has something to do with that. That's a perfect example of it, kind of right there. Thank you for opening up. Thank you. Snake birds, yeah, because their bones are denser than most birds, only their head and neck stick out. So snake bird, and in the water turkey, because they look just like a turkey going by in the water. As we do work our way back to the docks, I do ask everybody on the right side of the boat to just keep your arms on the inside. Sometimes we brush up against the dock, and I don't want you to go home with a souvenir splinter today. And if you can remain seated until we are at the dock tied up with the gate open, we'd appreciate it. Let's see where we are at the time here. Okay, those are the last shows today. There's a 2:15 Ranger show, a 3 o'clock Mermaid show. And once again, my name is Keith. On behalf of Captain Chet and myself, we do love this river. We love to share it with you, and we hope you loved it too. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day now.